Hi, Kiko. It's been a little while since I read any of the Berenstein Bears. This sampler book has many different stories. So, this one is called The Berenstein Bears in the Dark. It says in the beginning, being afraid of the dark doesn't just happen to you, it happens to lots of us sometimes. Anyways, here we go. Brother Bear, said Sister impatiently, are you going to take all day to pick your books? They're in the library. Sister and brother were at the Bear County Library. Sister had already chosen her books and was waiting at the checkout desk. Hold your horses, said brother. I'm looking for a good mystery. What a mystery is, honey? Mystery is something where you have to guess at what's going to really happen in the story. And he's looking for one. Sister Bear usually took out storybooks and books about nature. Sometimes books about poems. Brother liked those too, but lately he'd become interested in mysteries, especially spooky ones or scary ones. Hey, this one looks good, he said. Okay, let's check it out, said Sister, looking at the cover. It was called The Case of the Crying Cave. She said, it looks scary to me. She thought that book was scary. We'll see. Say, this is really good, said brother later in the evening when the Bear family had settled down for some reading. Would you like me to read it to you? He asked Sister. Sister was looking at a storybook about three kittens who were arguing about which one was the prettiest. It was a little boring. Or are you scared? Teased her brother. Of course not, said Sister. She left her book on the floor and climbed onto the bench to sit beside him. The mystery began quietly. It told about some Bear Scouts who were on an overnight campout. He's reading to her on the bench. There they are. When the Scouts discovered a dark, secret cave, Brother's mystery began to get a little exciting. And when the cave began to cry and wail, it was anything but quiet. Woo! Cried the deep, dark, mysterious cave. Read brother with a lot of expression. Woo! Stop, said Sister, putting her fingers in her ears. That's enough. And she went back to her storybook. Scaredy bear, teased her brother. And that's quite enough of that, added Papa Bear, looking up from his newspaper. See, there were the scouts that went into the cave. And see? There's Sister Bear with her hands in her ears, and there's Papa who yells. At the cubs' bedtime, Papa and Mama said goodnight, turned off the light, and left the cubs in their usual room. Outside the tree house, the bright, busy sounds of a day had given way to the soft, soothing sounds of night. Frogs croaking, toads and soft owls going whoo, whoo. The sigh of the night wind. And if you listened very hard, you could almost hear the soft sound of all, the softest sound of all, the sound of lightning bugs switching their lights on and off. Here they are in bed. And there's all the night critters. Owls up in the tree and all the bugs all around. But inside the tree house, Sister Bear wasn't even beginning to fall asleep. That night, the dark didn't seem the least bit quiet and sleepy to her. In fact, it seemed like all the spooky darkness of the cave had come out. And the friendly old chest of drawers and the funny clothes and the funny clothes tree that Papa had made didn't seem so friendly. They seemed more scary than anything else. There's the clothes tree. See all their clothes hanging on it? And Sister was scared at night because she didn't know what that was anymore. So when Brother decided to tease her a little more by making a wailing noise, a really spooky one, it gave her quite a scare. "Mama, Papa," she cried, "come quick." Brother Bear went, see him? He went, woo! Scared her pretty good. And come quickly they did. Papa rushed in the dark room and tripped over the clothes tree. Mama rushed in and tripped over Papa. Then Brother, who had started all the spooky wailing, turned on the light. What a mess. Sister, still scared, was holding on to Papa. Papa was holding on to his toe that he stubbed, and Mama was looking for the nightcap she lost in the fall. All three of them were pretty mad at Brother Bear. Look at that. See, he rushes and he falls over the clothes tree. She falls over Papa. Right? And there goes Sister Bear. And there's Brother Bear. Turning on the light. And they're all mad at him now. It turned out to be a very long night in the bear's treehouse. Papa and Mama tried to explain there was nothing to be afraid of in the dark, except maybe running into your clothes tree and stubbing your toe. But it didn't do any good. Sister refused to go to sleep with the light off, and Brother positively insisted that he couldn't fall asleep with the light on. See? She wants the light off. She wants the light on. He wants it off. The next morning, the Bear family was very sleepy. "Boy," said Brother, yawning, "I sure don't want to go through another night like that." "Neither do I," said Papa, "and I think I have an idea that might help." He took Sister's hand and said, "Come with me. We're going up to the attic." "The attic? But it's dark in the attic, even in the daytime." He said, "I know, but there's something I want to show you. Anyway, there's nothing so special about the dark. It's just part of nature. Like the light. It's your imagination that makes the dark seem spooky sometimes." "What's imagination?" said Sister. See, off they go to the attic. Imagination is what makes us think that chests of drawers and clothes trees are cave creatures. "I wish I didn't have one," said Sister. "Don't say that," said Papa. "A lively imagination is one of the best things a cub can have. It's imagination that lets us paint pictures, make up poems, invent inventions. There's no trick. The trick is to take charge of your imagination and not let it take charge of you." When they got to the attic, Papa began to rummage through the boxes, looking for something. See, he has a special light, so the attic's not so dark. Sister tried to follow Papa's advice and not let her imagination take charge. And it worked. A spooky shape that turned out to be the shadow of some old tools. See, that does look kind of spooky, but that's all it is. A wrench, pliers, screwdriver. Nothing spooky there. "Here it is," said Papa, "my old nightlight. The one I used to use when I was a cub and had a little trouble falling asleep in the dark." Sister couldn't quite believe that her big, powerful Papa was ever afraid of anything, much less the dark. "Oh, sure," said Papa. "Most of us are at one time or another." "How about reading the rest of the book, The Case of the Crying Cave?" asked Brother later that day. "Are you sure?" "Sure, I want to see how it turns out." When it turned out that there was nothing very spooky about the cave and the wailing noise, it was caused by the wind blowing across the mouth of the cave, and it just made a noise like a wailing. So, Sister was a little disappointed, actually. And that night, when she and Brother were all settled down in the cozy glow of Papa's old nightlight, she said, "I was pretty disappointed, by the way, in how the case of the Crying Cave ended." "Why?" asked Brother. "Because," she said, "I was hoping the wailing would be a real spooky, scary monster." And she leaned down from the top bunk over her brother's face and made a scary monster face. "Cut that out," cried Brother. The sister went right to sleep, but now who's scared? But Brother lay awake for quite some time, listening to the owl hoots and thinking maybe that he'd had enough of those mysteries for a while. I hope you like that one. Love you, honey. You say hi to everybody, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.